was a 10-3 casual game. This might be fun. Yeah, let's try this. Okay, Undudu is playing e4. Here, let's say hi. So against e4, yeah, I haven't played the French defense for a while. This is a casual game. Undudu asked for a casual game at 10-3, or he posted. He didn't ask me specifically. He posted that request. And I thought it could still be an interesting game, even though rating points are not on the line here. He's a pretty well-rated player. Playing the Tarrasch defense. Let's see. So let's play classically with knight to f6. You can also play with c5. I've done that a lot. Leads to more of an open position, whereas this leads to typical French defense kinds of structures. So you immediately want to undermine the center with c5. Ooh, he goes there. So do I have the idea of queen b6 here? Takes. Well, maybe set it up with knight c6. Okay, and he brings his knight over to that side. Let's go ahead and put more pressure on the center. Yeah, it's well defended, so let's just take. And the reason I'm taking now is because I don't want this bishop to get pulled away from this diagonal. I'm going to try and get in the move f6 next. And it's useful to have the knight here and the bishop here to accomplish that. Ooh, he's got a real dark squared pawn structure. Is there anything I can do to exploit that? Don't see it immediately. Let's just go with the plan. Aha. So he's hitting the he's hitting my e pawn, which stops me from playing f6. I could consider f5 though. So if I play f5 and he doesn't respond, then we have a kind of locked up center, and he'll maybe push on with g4 and try and attack my king. If I play f5 and he takes en passant, I take with the knight, and then this bishop is defending. I don't like the line where I push and he doesn't take. The locked up center that he undermines with g4 looks pretty dangerous to me. Looks like he's going to get a good attack against my king. He hasn't committed to castling over here, so I'm going with another line where I'm going to play knight to f8 followed by f6. And he castles. Could I play f5 now? I really could consider it. f5 en passant, knight takes. This is kind of exposed. It's going to be exposed anyway, actually. It's going to be a problem. Well, I'll continue with my original plan of knight f8, but I'm no longer think this was so great. Be interesting to check this out with the chess engine afterwards and see what, or the opening book in case it's in the opening book. But it's an unusual way for white to play. I haven't seen that before. So I don't really think these positions will be in the opening book. So it's 10 minutes for the whole game, but just 3 seconds increment. So I think it turns out to be about the same as 8 and 4, my usual time control. You have more straight time, but less increment time. So I'll have to move a little quicker towards the end if we get down to just playing on the increment. So now I am going with f6. And this just gives me the option of straight out taking there. Yeah, so that was his plan. He played b3 so he could play bishop b2. So maybe he wants to take with the d-pawn. That's a very interesting way to play. Have a majority on the king side and then try and attack. But no, he's not doing that. Okay, so now what? Now this dark squared bishop still needs to find a role in the game. Seems to have some weaknesses here. Against his king. So let's see. Yeah, so if I take on if I take on e5, he has to take with the knight. So if I just pile up on that, I am actually threatening to take on e5 because of the pin. The d pawn is pinned. Yeah, one idea is to clear that d-pawn out and then push my, clear that e-pawn out and then push my e-pawn forward and get this bishop into the game or trade it off that way. Otherwise, I have this bishop on c8 still has a long way to go to get into the game. Typical French defense kind of problem. Yeah, so he unpins. So I could take anyway. He takes, I take, he takes. No, that's 2 knights for 2 pawns. That's not worth it. That is not it. Yeah, he seems to have created a position where I don't have good squares for my pieces. Both bishops seem bad. Usually you're supposed to have one good bishop and one bad bishop, but there's a position where both bishops are bad. And the queen seems to be on the wrong side of the board. Can I fix these problems? So how about dropping the queen back and bringing it over here? Well, is he threatening anything? Knight here is covered. Knight's here. Yeah, I mean, he doesn't seem to be threatening much either. It's just it's hard for me to find a plan. Okay, well, get the bishop off the back rank to start with. And put the ball in his court. Yeah, he goes there, okay. I could continue small improving moves with rook to f8. But, you know, I had this idea of repositioning this knight. And now it comes with a tempo. The knight might even get into d3 if I had my bishop or queen on this b5 square. Yeah, so he's not going to allow that. So when I drop back, this pawn will come forward, I guess. And now the light squared bishop has a home. So I would call that mission accomplished. I have to take care of my e-pawn. I was forgetting I need to defend it. Fortunately, my queen is defending it. Knight c7 coming up, I guess. Ah, so he unpinned the knight. Maybe he has plans for that knight. Oh, the knight can hop in here. Let's bring my knight to c7 as advertised. He can push the bishop back some more. His queen is supporting a5. The bishop would have to drop back. Still, I want to prove there's some pawn weaknesses over here. So maybe, well, if he doesn't play a5 right away, maybe, I mean, if he doesn't play a4 right away, maybe I will play a5. Try and weaken these queenside pawns. And activating this rook. The other way to activate it would be to play rook c8, I guess. Well, I think this is a pretty interesting game so far. A little unusual for me. Yeah, I don't know exactly what's going on. So this is kind of forcing a trade. What's his idea here? His idea is my king side will be weaker after I trade. Maybe he'll take with the pawn and have an open g-file. So that's why he wanted to keep his bishop or his knight on. Still, I think I need to trade. Let's see. Yeah, oh, he has to take that way. And now maybe rook, or maybe king to the corner, so that I can put my rook on g8. But still, how is he going to exploit that? Oh, bring his queen over, I guess, is the way he can exploit it. Yeah, let's do this rook g8 right away. King h8 right away. So I have rook g8 as a defense. I'm defending in advance here, because you really can get into trouble quickly here. Okay, this bishop was not doing much, so I'm just going to get rid of it. I thought he would take with the rook. Thought that was his plan. He takes with the pawn. Okay, so I can put my rook on an open file here. And maybe bring this bishop back via e8 to g6. Might be a nice repositioning for that piece. And I still have the idea of going after these weak pawns on the queen side. I just need to make sure I don't get mated on the king side. Yeah, I think he let off the pressure when he took with the pawn there. He'd taken with the rook. Now, maybe there's a tactical problem with that, but taking with the rook seemed to me to have more bite. Okay, yeah, tough position for both sides, I guess. But yeah, I'm not sure how white should continue with his attack. I have ideas for defense and then eventually the counterattack on the queen side. He could try the exchange sack. That's maybe an idea. Rook takes knight, queen takes, and then he gets this center pawn. Maybe it's worth it for the exchange. So it looks like he brought his rook in. So he's going to double? Yeah, so I'm going to bring my queen over. Not my queen, my bishop over, like I said. That way, yeah, and blockade here. And there's a nice move, bishop to e4 here, attacking his rook and pinning it. Which he defended, right? Because if I go bishop e4 now, he has bishop f3. But I can take it, right? Bishop f3, I take. He's got the queen defending it, but I have the rook attacking it. So it looks like he did not spot this idea. Well, sometimes it's tough to shift your thinking from attack to defense. But I think this is a move that will turn the tide here. So he's going to ignore it. I don't have to take right away. I can pile up the pressure like this. Because that rook is pinned. I should try and get the most mileage possible out of it. Okay, so now I have to take. I can't take there. He'll just take back. Well, I could take there, but that's giving up the exchange instead of winning the exchange. And then take here. King takes. Okay, so now let's bring a rook to the open file. So probably bringing my queen in is the way to finish this off. Queen b5, looking at the square. But how do I actually get in? He's got that covered. This knight here is doing a tremendous job holding on to my center pawns there. So maybe that idea of the exchange sack was best for white. He's just going to push ahead with the attack. Yeah, makes sense. So what's the best square for the queen? Here. See, if I come around this way, it takes 1, 2, 3 moves. But how else can I get in there? Along this diagonal, the queen is covering all of these squares. The bishop covers that one. Well, I can start with this move. Or is there a good knight move to start with? Yeah, he's also got this file covered. Bishop, queen, bishop. There, once again, that square I can come into, but what good is it? Over here. Okay, so I could... I guess I don't want to do that until the last moment. Okay. I'm going to go here looking at this F file and then also looking to come here to D7 to F7. He blocks that way. So let's drop back. Rook and knight versus 2 bishops is also kind of an interesting combination. It does have, white does have a lot of possibilities with the 2 bishops. They can be very strong. It helps me, I think, that the center is locked up. Keeps his bishops in check. There we go. Now I get to the Now I get to the F file. Maybe I'm getting somewhere. So he blocks there. Okay, so I can go all the way to F5. Looking at this pawn. This pawn. You know, at some point, if I can pick up a pawn here, I can also think about just trading out. Queen takes, rook takes, king takes. And I'll have a knight versus a bishop in the endgame. Might be a good knight, though. But I would feel better about it if I managed to gain a pawn first. Ah, didn't manage that. So let's come over here. Yeah, he pushes forward that way. Okay, so how can the knight get into the game? Well, first, let's stop those pawns from coming forward any further. Aha. So now I can take here. He can take here. He left this hanging. So there's a possibility I have some kind of... but from here, the queen has nowhere great to go, does it? So I can take this pawn, he takes the knight, and I'm thinking, oh, if I have some checks here. But there's no check here, here, or here. And along that diagonal he's covered. Could just step forward, though, attacking that bishop. Let's try this. I think it'll be interesting in any case. So I'm sacrificing this knight. I'll be able to attack his bishop with a move like this, stepping forward. And his queen can't easily defend it. And there, so there's the check. And I need to take here. He's got a threat of checkmate here, so I have to be pretty careful. But how about this check? Where is the king going? Okay, 12 seconds. I got to speed up, huh? Finally, I'm getting my rook to the back rank here. So check here. Where does he go? He goes there. I'm sure there's a way to mate him here, but it's not so easy to find. So let's take there with check. And a very exciting finish here. If I don't run out of time, he should resign at this point. But I'm so low on time, he doesn't have to resign, of course. Ah, there he goes. Yeah, I could round up that pawn with my rook, and it would not be much trouble to win this, I guess. Okay, cool game. I will upload this, and I'll check it out in the postmortem. See you guys later.